everyone's question. What is going on, everybody? We are just getting started. We got the TikTok live right here answering everybody's question. What's up? I used your YT video to set up my PPC ads. I love it, Soya. I love it. What up, bro? What's good, noob? Hope you're doing well. What's the basic steps? Are you buying a product, holding stock, and then selling it, or on demand? No, you buy the inventory. So the basic steps: create an Amazon seller account, get a product research software, find a potential product to sell, get that product manufactured, negotiate with suppliers, create a product listing, add the product to Amazon. I like to do this before ever placing a bulk order. Make sure the product doesn't need any extra approvals. Create a shipment on Amazon so that you can send your products directly from your manufacturer to Amazon's fulfillment centers, where they're going to store all of your inventory, and then every time you get an order, Amazon will pick, pack, and ship that order directly to the customer. Step 5.5, wait for the products to arrive at Amazon. Once your product is live, start getting reviews, driving traffic to get PPC sales, and start selling. I'm doing a price discount of 10% this Labor Day weekend. Is this a good idea in your opinion? It's always cool to test discounts and stuff. So I don't think it's a bad idea by any means, but you actually may, it's a weird one, because during certain holidays like Labor Day, 4th of July, people aren't shopping as much. They're kind of chilling, hanging out, vacationing, going to the lake, going to the river, stuff like that. So it may be a lower traffic weekend, but it's not a bad idea by any means, noob. Steven, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Who are you talking to? I got the TikTok live right here, answering all the TikTok questions. That's where the audience is. And I go live here so that they can all be recorded. Greatly appreciate the step-by-step, of course. What up, Alex? Good to see you, bro. Hope all is well. Float, let me answer your question with a question. What would make you believe that the largest e-commerce platform in the world, with 1.2 million active sellers and new sellers and new markets going on to the platform every single year, would make Amazon not a thing? Hello, what up, Gene? I actually literally just posted a video today, third to last video, why selling on Amazon is not saturated, not going away, will never go away, and I stand by that. So 5 years, 10 years, y'all send me a message and be like, hey, Luke, Amazon is still thriving. I've been selling on Amazon for... What's Flow? I don't even know what Flow is. But I've been selling on Amazon for almost 7 years now. 6 years and 8 months. I've heard the same story year after year after year after year since I started selling, and I've launched new products that were successful year after year after year after year. And I predict that in the next 10 years, that will be the same story. Year after year, I'll hear, is Amazon too saturated? Is Amazon done? Is Amazon cooked? No, it's not. Unless the act of buying and selling products is cooked, nobody should ever invent a product. Nobody should ever start a business where they sell a product, which means only service-based businesses are a thing. But no, there's product-based businesses. Ecom, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Y'all make sure you drop your questions down below. I go line by line answering everybody's question. Good morning, brother. What up, Hando? Good to see you, my friend. We'll probably do some, if you guys want some product research today. We did we did a lot yesterday. I was on live for a while, but we cut some of that short. Sonia, thank you so much for the follow. If y'all are not already following the page, make sure that you are. Post 4+ videos every single day on Amazon stuff, and also go live Monday through Saturday to answer all of your amazing questions. That's why I love getting questions on the live, because I don't do these lives just to yap. I do them to answer everybody's question. But let's go over. I do want to share a little update with the new Amazon account that I created. Hopefully get some people pumped up, motivate some people who might be struggling with little aspects of their own business. Alex, thank you for sharing the live, my guy. But before we get into that, last few videos that I posted on the TikTok, not including pinned videos. This never includes pinned videos, but last one is what a good product market looks like on Amazon. Second to last video, how to deal with taxes when selling on Amazon. Third to last video, why selling on Amazon is not saturated. And fourth to last video, how to check how much money a product makes on Amazon. Is private label or arbitrage sourcing more profitable? I struggle with sourcing. Well, generally, private label has higher profit margins than arbitrage. Both businesses have the potential to be successful, but your average profit margin with arbitrage is maybe 10 to 20%. The average profit margin with private label is 20 to 35%. This account runs at a 40% profit margin after everything. You will very rarely see that in the arbitrage game. Somebody who has 40% margins. It's usually not a thing. Maybe there's some anomalies where you have your outliers. So I'm not denying that that's a possibility. So again, both can be profitable. One significantly on average has a higher profit margin. And you don't even have to take my word for it. There's so much data on the internet that states that. You could even go ask ChatGPT right now. I wouldn't rely on ChatGPT to help me with my Amazon business, but you could say, what are the average profit margins for private label, arbitrage, and wholesale? And it will tell you and you'll see that the profit margin for private label is significantly higher compared to those other business models, especially when you get at scale. So this is where it gets even more interesting with arbitrage and wholesale. As you scale, your margins generally come down because you have now people getting warehouses and having to hire employees, all of that. But with private label, generally over time, assuming you have a good product, your profit margins go up. Like, we didn't start with 40% profit margins on this account. We started probably around the 30% range. And then we were maybe about 20, 30% range before ads. So when you count into ads, it would have been less. But then as time went on, we were able to scale it because we brought our cost of goods down. Let's see if y'all can guess. What do you think my landed cost for our main product on this account is? Closest guess wins. And I'll tell you what we used to pay previously to that. Potterjan, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. How many Amazon accounts can you open at the same time at the same address for selling? One, Alex. Technically against Amazon's terms of service to launch. So not how much I spent on creating the account, what my landed cost of goods is. So for one unit, cost of goods and shipping, what do we think it is for that account? I thought to start other business model, but I realized it's not worth it. Private label is the best model. Yes, I agree, Hanto. And that's not even opinion based. I don't base things on opinion or emotion. It's based on facts, analytics. Higher profit margin on Amazon. You own the IP. You don't have to compete for the buy box with other sellers. Running ads actually is a beneficial thing because you can increase your revenues if you have a good ad strategy. You can differentiate the product to optimize your conversion, optimize your organic rank, which will then lead to more sales. And it's always funny to hear arbitrage and wholesale sellers say, oh, but you can sell brand name products that already exist. Okay, let's backtrack here. How many people here have shopped on Amazon? Now, when you shop on Amazon, are you searching for brands mostly? Or are you searching for products mostly? So are you sitting there saying, I want and I'm not saying that you don't search for brands, but are you sitting there every time like, I want a Hydro Flask water bottle, or I want a Fiji water bottle, or water, or do I want, I don't know, I can't even think, Nike shoes? Or are you going on Amazon and searching exactly like Duo said, something like a garden hose, or just water bottle, or floating shelves? You're searching for the product. So with private label, again, the wholesale arbitrage community always tries to say, but we sell brand name products that people already have demand. I'm selling products that have demand. In fact, majority of searches on Amazon do not come from branded searches. And you can tell this by going to a keyword research software, searching up a product, and you're going to see that the most searched term is not a brand, but a general term for a product. So I am selling products that are in demand, just as much so as they're selling brands that are already in existence. I don't even know what that is. User 64. PPC is not coming at a profit pocket. If sales boost, it's a big win. Yes, sometimes it does if you're running at like a break even, or not even a break even, if you're running at a loss for PPC, but that's obviously not your goal when you're running ads. Products, exactly. So anytime y'all ever hear that pitch, because they all have the same pitch, we sell brand name products like Fiji and Nike and Colgate that already exist and have demand, just think, well, people search for products more than they search for brands on Amazon. A big brand is more trusted. Dang, streaming is on point. YT is right on TikTok video. Oh, nice. So there's no delay. More like hype items. Nope, I don't sell hype items either. You don't want to go into, or are you saying that's what Labubu is? I don't even know what that is, but no, I don't sell things that are trending or hyped. Air Stick was good. We got a few of the students in here. Marion, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you, and everybody in the live who's asking questions, vibing. Make sure y'all keep dropping your questions down below. How do you build a brand on Amazon quickly? Nothing good comes quick. Oh, is that? Oh man, don't even get me started with that, Hanto. I've been seeing that ever. I just didn't know the name. But nothing good comes quick, bro. This isn't get rich quick scheme. This isn't fast money. Like any big brand that you do see on Amazon, or even any big brand that you see outside of Amazon, it wasn't quickly. It was doing the fundamental things that made them grow. Having a good product, having a good differentiator being something that adds value to the competition. You're not going to just click copy and paste on what everybody else is doing. Look at a brand like, and I know they're not an Amazon brand, but look at a brand like Nike. Nike did things different than Converse and Adidas, right? When they first came onto the market. Look at a brand like Netflix. Netflix did something different than Blockbuster. For those of you who don't know, Netflix started by sending CDs of a movie to your door within 24 hours. And then if anyone remembers Redbox, I mean, I know they're still kind of around, but those big old red boxes that were outside of like gas stations or grocery stores, that was also Netflix. And then they started to see that model was declining, and they went over to the streaming service. All of these brands, it was a progression to get to where they were. So you're not going to start a brand on Amazon. Let's say you launched a product this year. You're not going to quickly be one of the top brands on Amazon within a few months. It is a progression thing. Now you can grow year over year, potentially even month over month for a brand new product, grow the revenue, grow your organic rank, but it's going to take time to build a strong brand. Do you provide coaching on private label? Yes, sir, I do. We do these lives for free. I have videos for free, a lot of free resources for everyone. But for anyone who wanted to be able to message me anytime they had a question, for anybody who wanted a more in-depth guide on private label, I do have the AMZ Masterclass. Yeah, it's just some with luck. Maybe no, luck doesn't. I don't think luck has to do with this business. I'd say luck is like 10%. What's anyone who remember that song? Remember the name? It's like 10% luck. I'm not gonna actually sing for you, but 20% will. I think that a very small portion of it is luck. And what do I mean by that? Like if you and I both did product research and we both were looking at the baby category. Maybe there was a product that caught my eye and there was a product that caught your eye. And so we both end up, and those both meet the criteria. So then we move forward with that product. The luck aspect is like that maybe the product that caught my eye was better than the product that caught your eye, and it does better in the market. That's the one piece of luck. But everything else is good market research. Again, adding value to the competition. And we can maybe even go over that in today's live if y'all want. Like, how do you actually add value into a market? A good review strategy, good negotiating with suppliers, and getting a good freight forwarding company so that you can get good quotes on shipping, a good review strategy, a good ad strategy. Thinking, or did anyone get the answer right for the 1 unit price? No, they did not. Thinking on launching my first product, learning product research. I love that, Sarah. Congratulations, and you're on the path. Absolutely love that. I have a lot of videos on how to do product research. Also, bro, no need to spam in the chat. I'll get to your question when I get to it. But yeah, spamming doesn't make me, because I'm at the top. And when people spam, like, it doesn't make me see the question any faster. I go line by line answering everyone's question. How much quantity of product should you advance when you don't know sales rate yet? Great question, Duo. I start with 100 to 300 units. I also just posted a YT video on this, dropped it yesterday. Post a lot of in-depth content on the YT channel and on the TikTok channel too, but that's obviously fast videos. Most of my videos are under like 2 minutes on TikTok. YT, you're talking like 3, 10, 15 minutes. Sorry, I lost my place. There we go. So if I have an ASIN, exception, how do I list using Excel without ASIN? Selling alternative medicine. You would download something called a category listing report. This is a little bit more advanced. So for all the beginners, this might sound foreign to you, but just want to answer this one. You would download something called the category listing report. It would give you all of your products in there. And then to be honest, it's too hard to explain. I'll give you the basis of it, but you should go look up a video on how to create a variation using an Excel sheet and just follow it along step by step, because you'll most likely make a mistake your first time. So, and that's totally okay. It has no negative effects if you do it wrong the first time. You just have to redo it. But yeah, category listing report, it'll show all your ASINs. In a video, it should show you how to actually create the parent variation on that Excel sheet. And then the products that you want in the variation, those would be your child ASINs. Private label or arbitrage? Private label all day. Arbitrage doesn't even compete. If you want to be a reseller and not own a brand, that's totally okay. Then I would say arbitrage. But if you want a business that you actually own, like I made an exit on the very first brand that I owned on Amazon, you couldn't do that as an arbitrage seller. I was saying this in the beginning of the live. I'm assuming you weren't here because you're asking, but nobody's going to spend 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand, $250,000 to buy an arbitrage or wholesale business, because I would just take that money, go establish relationships with suppliers, and launch the same exact type of products that you do. There's no IP to buy with an arbitrage or wholesale business. I also think that arbitrage and wholesale are a little bit more of a job than a business, but that's just my opinion. Should I do branding and product design using ChatGPT? No, you should not. ChatGPT doesn't have the analytics that you need to create a good product or a good differentiator. That would be a fun thing to do on the live. Let's ask ChatGPT. You guys let me know if you want to do this. We'll ask ChatGPT how it would differentiate a product, and then I'll go into the market and I'll show how I differentiate a product and why I don't or do think that ChatGPT was correct or incorrect. I think that would be fun. What is the minimum quantity I should order for the launch? 200, 300, 100 to 300 units, Sarah. 300 would actually be the maximum. 100 would be the minimum. I'm based in the UK and I have a seller account. Are still able to provide your service? Yes, I have students from all over the world. Flo, US, obviously, Canada, Australia, UK, all across Europe, UAE, even have students in Egypt. I have literally every single continent except for Antarctica. My second guess is $25 per unit. No, very far off, Georgios. Good guess, but very far off. Sorry, I didn't do that. Do what? No. I wasn't talking to you, Sarah, about the spamming. That wasn't you, if that's what you're talking about. What up, Tor? Good to see you. Does Amazon handle shipping or your partner with 3PL? I don't use a 3PL. Amazon handles all of that. So that's what FBA stands for. A lot of people mistake FBA as a business model. Like I'll get asked, do you do FBA or private label? No. FBA stands for Fulfilled by Amazon. Any business model on Amazon can do this, where I send my products to Amazon's fulfillment centers, Amazon's warehouses. They're going to store my inventory. Now, I do pay an FBA fee for this on every sale. They're going to store all of my inventory. And then every time I get an order, Amazon picks, packs, and ships it to the customer, and it's Prime available. Most likely will break even / lose a little bit of money with my test batch. I see potential. Should I reorder? If you're breaking even and you see a path to increase profitability, to increase organic rank, and you've been getting sales, then yes, especially if your conversion is low, because you can always try to optimize your conversion. When you order 100 to 300 units, how did you negotiate with the supplier? Have they give you a discount? Every single time, like literally every time, when I contact a manufacturer, let's say that I first contact them, I say, hey, how much is this unit? And they tell me $10. I have never paid the first price that a manufacturer gives me. I always negotiate. I have videos like on YT, how to negotiate. We go over it in depth in the AMZ Masterclass as well. For those who did want that more in-depth guide, I also created a sourcing service for the students. But you would contact as many manufacturers as you can, 10 to 20 plus. And then some you're going to just say, hey, I need it at this price. You can be a little bit more stern, but then you'll also take the lowest quote that you got out of those 10 to 20 manufacturers. Some will also be willing to negotiate, others will not. And you're going to use that lowest quote that you got as leverage with the other manufacturers. Hey, I got a quote for $8 instead of 10 from this manufacturer, and it's the same quality. Can you match or can you beat this price? And then maybe one of them beats it, and then you use that leverage again, rinse and repeat. Michael, thank you so much for the follow. I'll check it out after stream. I love it. How long you been at this? 6 years, 8 months, since January 2019. My biggest cost taking away my profits is PPC and Vine. Vine is a one-time thing, so I wouldn't even account that. Like, yes, you have to account it in your accounting, but I wouldn't even account that as a loss because you're pushing for the reviews. With PPC, that's where I was telling you, user, that you got to increase your conversion rate and you also have to increase your organic rank. Hello, Baba. What up, Batman? What is the minimum I should order? I answered that. Do we need helium-10 for PPC? I always use helium-10. You would want to use it for keyword research. I have videos on that. You don't want to just rely on like an auto campaign to get you keywords. There's keywords that you will know that you need to bid on for your ads, and you can find that with Helium 10, Cerebro or Magnet Tool. Tyler, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you and everybody in here. Does being based out of the West Coast have lower shipping costs? If all of your units were going to the West Coast, yes. But when you're creating a shipment on Amazon, how it works, this is getting a little bit more complex. So again, for beginners, bear with me here. You create a shipment on Amazon and you have two options: send to one Amazon warehouse, but if you only send it to one, you would pay something called an inbound placement fee. And this is for Amazon to distribute all of your inventory across the US. Now, I always try to avoid the inbound placement fee. So then there's the other option of sending it to 5 warehouses. You don't get to choose which warehouse, even if you do the 1 option or the 5 option, you don't get to choose which warehouse your inventory goes to. Amazon automatically sets this for you. So theoretically, if they chose all West Coast addresses for you, yes, it would be cheaper. But how it usually goes down is you'll have a shipment in Cali, a shipment in Vegas, a shipment in Tennessee, a shipment in New York. So they spread it across the US. I'm struggling to find another product to launch. Remember, bro, it's a numbers game. Just keep looking. Hard shit. Hope I said that right. Thank you very much for the follow. So how would you go about things if I shouldn't use ChatGPT for product design? You should base it on the market. I again have videos on this as well, but you would go through, you need some kind of product research software. You would see how top sellers were performing, and you would start to take ideas from all of these. A basic example, just to help you guys like visualize it in your head, would be if you wanted to go launch a whiteboard, and maybe you saw one seller in the market who performed well, who had markers as a bonus item, one seller in the market who performed well with a magnetic board, and then one seller in the market who had magnets as a bonus item. You would take the idea from all 3 of those sellers and you would create a hybrid listing of all 3 of those sellers, because now you're adding more value. You have proof of concept from these other products and these other listings that, hey, these perform well individually. And if you can be price competitive, your offer looks way better than everybody else. I've created a successful business using FBA from start to manufacturing my own line. What's the business called? I mean, good for you. That's awesome, but I don't think that it's applicable for Amazon. My brother, how's it going? What up, Taz? Taz, one of the AMZ Masterclass students, one of the new students, just finished the mentorship. What is good, my guy? What is a good PPC budget for each product of a total of 10 products, 200K revenue? You're launching 10 products? What do you mean, Nawaz? What do you mean a total of 10 products? So even if you scale your business, you don't recommend a 3PL to store your inventory and possibly ship? No. I recommend Amazon, just fulfillment centers. How do you know how much inventory to order to keep up with demand? You're going to base it on something called inventory forecasting. Again, this is getting into more like complex or analytical stuff. But if you were selling 10 units a day, so on average, that would be 300 units a month. And let's say that it took 2 months for your product to be manufactured and shipped over to the States. That would be 60 days. If I was selling 10 units a day, that would be 600 units for those 2 months that the product was being manufactured and shipped. So I'd want to make sure that I had enough inventory for those 2 months, and then extra inventory at least a month if you're able to. Are you going to do the ChatGPT product market? I think it'll be fun. I think it will be too. What do you all think? Do we want to do that? Have ChatGPT? We have to decide now because we need enough time to do it on the live. We're already about halfway done or halfway through. So we can ask ChatGPT how it would differentiate a product, and then I'll go through that product market and see if ChatGPT was correct or not. $17.50 per unit, my third guess. Nope, way off, Georgios. So I told everyone at the beginning to guess what my landed cost of goods for our main product on this account is. I saw everything was pretty much above $15. We got $17.50, $20, $25, all incorrect. Tuusa, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. All right, seems like everybody wants to do it. How many products as niches do you focus on? On certain accounts, just one. On other accounts, anything and everything is fair game. $6.99, closest guess, but still incorrect. New here, want to learn. I love it. $7.88, that's a little. $6.50 still the closest guess. What would you recommend price I should set my product? It's going to be based on the market. It's not like a one size fits all answer, Hento. It's based on the value that you're adding to the market. And you also want to be price competitive with other sellers in the market. How much do you invest to make that much, and what products do you sell? I don't share my exact products for obvious reasons. Here's how much I make. Here are the products that I sell. $5.49 per unit. Still no, but it's closest guess. $5.49 is now the closest guess. But at the start, this brand was started with less than 10K. Now, obviously, there was much more invested into that over time, because like we have 20 something thousand units of just one product sitting at Amazon's fulfillment centers right now. $4.49, closest guess, still incorrect. What are the major margin differences between arbitrage and private label? Private label, you'll see like 25 to 35% margins at scale. Arbitrage, you'll see between 10 and 20% margins at scale. $3.89, closest guess, still incorrect. Mindset, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. $0. I mean, technically $0 is the closest guess, but still incorrect. Now $3.25 is the closest guess, still incorrect. $3.25, still the closest guess. All right, let's pull up ChatGPT. Let's do this this live thing here. Let's pick a product. On the money. $2 landed cost of goods. Hanto got it right. Respect all the guesses for sure. But yeah, $2 landed cost of goods plus shipping. Like I said, we also have over 20,000 units sitting at Amazon's fulfillment center. So we ordered quite a lot of inventory. Show, thank you for the gift. No need to gift, y'all. I don't take any money out of my TikTok. I also have a business account. So what are you selling, bubble wrap? It's actually a supplement. We get a really good cost of goods, but that was developed over time. Bubble wrap is funny. All right. So let's do this. Let's pick a product. I'm going to pull up my Amazon market here. Let's pick a product. I'll let you guys pick. It has to be something saturated because I'm not about to differentiate a product for you guys. I'm guessing with the volume of orders, the cost substantially goes down. Yes, that is why generally your margins go up as you scale with private label. I don't need to go and get any warehouses. I don't need to get any employees, none of that. Whereas like with arbitrage and wholesale, you always see like the wholesale community or the arbitrage community kind of flex their warehouses. I have a 3,000 square foot warehouse for my business, but that's not a flex to me. That's a liability. Sorry, Alex. I know you do wholesale too, but guess how can I start ecom with you? I want to apply. I'm from Australia. In the TikTok bio, if you wanted to have me as your direct mentor along your entire journey, I'll show y'all a little bit more about that towards the end of the live. But the Harvard of Amazon private label education. How many manufacturers should I consider vetting for my product? You should contact 10 to 20. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. You should contact 10 to 20 plus, as many as you can, but you're going to end up narrowing it down to your top 3 suppliers. You don't operate out of a warehouse, brother. You're looking at the office. In fact, sometimes this isn't even my office. I'm up traveling, doing stuff, chilling. I do work a lot. but I also like to travel as well. But no, I don't need a warehouse. I don't need an office. My office is my loft. $10 is generally recommended. Yeah, 10 to 20 plus. So we got doormats. Let's do a more exciting product. If we can't get another one, I do like that one. So that wasn't a bad one by any means, but let's do a different product. Something like, give me a hard one. Give me something that's difficult. Shoe rack, pet products. I like shoe rack. I like shoe rack. I like pet products, but that's a little bit more broad. That was crazy. We'd have to be more general. If we don't get another guest, I think we'll do shoe rack. Would you begin to sell a product with little to no margin at the beginning to have reviews? Do you mean like pre-ordering a product, Nikita, or do you mean after? Because like I make sure that every product that I launch has a 30% profit margin after FBA fees, cost of goods, and shipping before ads. But as I actually launch, I'm okay with having a lower margin to establish the product. But is arbitrage good for building up your capital as a newbie? If you didn't have capital, I wouldn't say no. But it's still a business. So like, not saying this would happen. I would hope it doesn't happen, but it's just the reality of business. You could also have very little capital, start arbitrage, and lose that capital on a business trying to get more money for another business model. I would rather save up. How do you make sure to continue to stay compliant with Amazon TOS? Do you avoid certain products? Yes. And I also just read up a lot on certain things with Amazon's policy and stuff like that. I've had a product where I launched it. There was nothing wrong with it. And then out of the blue one day, Amazon decided to ban that type of product from being sold on their platform. I was SOL. Shite out of luck. Should I keep my landing cost under 15? It depends on the product that you sell. Yeah, it really just depends on the product that you sell, Sarah. Because if you have a higher ticket item, then it's okay to be a little bit above that. Not even necessarily a higher ticket product, maybe like a $50, $60 product. You might have a landed cost around 15 or maybe a little over. What should my landing cost on my product? Alex, I never know if you're actually asking a question or trolling, just because you always troll in the lives. But if you're genuinely asking, bro, you want to be price competitive, definitely, even with your differentiator. But you want to keep in mind your differentiator into the cost, because maybe you, like a good example is I had another student, Alex, and he's selling a $200 product. Everybody else in the market sells like a $60 product, but he's selling like a much more premium, larger product than everyone else. So his landed cost is able to be more than everyone else because of the price and the value that he added to his product. And he actually does very good with that one. Not suggesting to be more than double the average price, but just to give you an example. Why does arbitrage need warehouse and private label doesn't? Because they have to store a bunch of products. I have my product sent from my menu. Like if you, okay, at a small scale, if you're doing arbitrage, you're going to be able to get a few products and then just send them directly to Amazon. But like arbitrage sellers who are at scale, they have pallets of products. Same thing with wholesale sellers. You can't fit pallets of products in your house. You might have a garage. That'll only do you so good for so long. And then that's where they go and get these warehouses. So YT question, what's the ratio of regular 1 to 5-star reviews versus get a detailed written out review feedback? I don't have the exact ratio on that, to be honest, because every product is going to be different and it really depends on the reviewer rather than like a product market. You're definitely in the beginning, you're probably going to see more written out reviews, but as you start to scale, you're going to notice a significant amount of non-written reviews, but I would still say the written reviews are more. For the screenshot of your sales mentorship, what about it, Zuby? It's in the TikTok bio. For the screenshot of your sales, how many SKUs do we need to get up there in average? I mean, it's going to be different for everybody, bro. Like I can't give you guys, past successes don't dictate future results. I can't be like, hey, launch this many products and you're going to see the same revenue that I have. Some people might get there with 20 products. Some people might get there with 2 products. Some people might get there with 30 products. Some people might get there with 9 products. So the key difference in arbitrage: take shipments themselves first, then ship to Amazon. Well, they don't even take, well, they can take shipments, but a lot of times with like arbitrage, they're sitting there and scanning items in store or finding little one-off items online. So yeah, you can't buy a product from Target and then send it directly to Amazon. Drop shipping is also against Amazon's terms of service. All right. Do you sell products in sports, goods and toys and automotive? Not automotive, but sports and toys, yes. Arbitrage is a job. That's not what we want. I agree. Do you still actively look and launch new products, or only if your products start underperforming? My products don't underperform. And number 2, I launched, if you include products that are on the water being shipped right now, I've launched or ordered 15 new products to launch on Amazon this year. Not on this account, but across accounts. What does landed cost mean? Landed cost is your cost of goods from a manufacturer. So let's say the manufacturer is charging you $5 a unit. So that's my cost of goods. And then my shipping per unit, let's say that I had 100 units and I was spending $300 on shipping. My shipping per unit would be $3. So $5 cost of goods, $3 shipping. That would make my landed cost, landed being like after the product lands, how much I paid per unit, $8. It's the cost of goods plus shipping. All right, let's do a speed run through this. Let's see if we have time to get it done, shall we? Do tariffs affect you? Not really, bro. Even when tariffs were at their highest, it did not. Does Amazon allow more than one seller account? Technically, no. It's against their TOS. Technically. Alrighty, let's get this going. Also, if y'all are not following the page already, make sure that you are to get updates on these lives. I think this is a joke comment because bro lives in the Maldives. Also, y'all, I mean, again, I know it was probably a joke, but yeah, this is about Amazon, not politics. Currently, you're selling more under 50 different products, a little bit more, but not on this account. That's across accounts. I know you're kidding, Hanto. That's why I made sure to mention that. Do you have branding on your products? Yes, a lot of them, yes. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let me type this first because it's hard to type with one hand. So we're going to ask ChatGPT actually, let's do this. I want to sell a shoe rack on Amazon. How should I differentiate the product? Ramon, thank you so much for the follow. Appreciate you. Does manufacturer place branding, or does Amazon during fulfillment? Amazon's not going to do anything for you except receive your products and ship your products. Your manufacturer does all of that. All right, let's do it. Let's see if ChatGPT can come up with a good differentiator for us, shall we? I don't believe that it will, but let's see. Maybe I could be proven wrong right now. So I want to sell a shoe rack on Amazon. How would you differentiate? Material and build. I don't consider this a differentiator because there's going to be different shoe racks. Design and aesthetic. I'll give them this one because I do think optimizing your design is a way to differentiate. Oh wait, this isn't fair, guys. My ChatGPT is primed for my stuff. I think we have to do an incognito window, but then YT won't be able to see this. I always forget that when I'm using ChatGPT. Like my ChatGPT knows who I am, knows my product criteria, knows how I sell products on Amazon. So it's actually a little bit unfair. But let's actually go with it. Let's just continue because I do want YT to see it. You can tell ChatGPT that this is a TikTok live. I don't want to make it give me a wrong answer. Use Claude. What? I don't think I've ever heard of that. Yeah, let's use a different AI, actually. Can you use Grok without being on X? Yeah, let's see if we can do Grok. That would be better. Okay, I think ChatGPT is the best out there. I do really like ChatGPT, especially because, like I'm sure you could do this with all the AIs, but my ChatGPT over time has like learned who I am. You have never heard of Claude? No, man. Honestly, I just know. I know Grok. I know Perplexity. I know ChatGPT. I think that's it. I think that's all I know. I know the AMZ Masterclass AI that I created for my students. All right, so let's do that again. And if I just want it to be a fair shot. So if it gives the same answer, then props to the AI. So I want to launch a shoe rack on Amazon. How should I differentiate? That'd be funny if it gave the same answer and we did all of that. Wait, hold on. It's going to be dark. Let me share the screen to YT really quickly. Okay. All right. See, this is more of an AI answer that I was expecting. So not a bad answer, but I'll break it down. So it talks about understanding that we're not going to read it all. Innovative design. So I always do talk about design. So good on that one. And it gives you a few different answers, but we're going to break these down a bit more. Easy assembly. Like this should be an automatic thing. Like improving the quality is not a differentiator. You should just want to improve the quality. Specialized features, dust and odor protection. That's not going to be necessarily a differentiator that's going to generate more sales, in my opinion. Capacity and versatility. I 100% agree with this. Like 20 or 50 pairs of shoes, having more shoes can potentially that it stores is potentially better. Does Amazon hold you back if you sell out, if you're still waiting on a new shipment? I mean, your rank will decrease, but they won't hold you back. Optimize your listing is not a differentiator. You should have an optimized listing as it is. So pricing and value, you do not want to try to compete on price. You do want to be price competitive, but if you're striving, oh, my differentiator is going to be that I'm the lowest price product in the market. No, you won't. You 100% will not. Marketing is not a differentiator. You don't want to leverage trends because you don't want trendy products. You don't want a seasonal product, because what happens when that trend is over or the season is done? Post-launch optimization is not a differentiation. So yeah, see, my ChatGPT actually gave a way better answer than this one did, because it talked about like bonus items, stuff like that. Grok's horrible. I think this is actually the first time I've used Grok. I just know about it. All right, so I would say the good answers here, but I'm going to show you what I would actually look at on Amazon. The good answers here are the design. The other good answer is capacity. I think that could be a way to differentiate. And I think that's the only two that it gave. Yeah, ChatGPT is better. I use Grok a lot because I'm always on X. I think that's the one social media that I haven't used in years. All right, so now we're at Amazon. We have shoe rack. And this is why I wouldn't rely, because your guys' ChatGPT is not. Oh, I know Gemini too. I forgot about that one. Why? Because your guys' AI is not primed like mine. So look, first off, this is not a market that I would go launch in, but here's what I would do when I'm looking to differentiate. I have my product research software here. I'm going to organize it by most revenue to least. Now I'm going to start going through all of the top sellers. Remember that whiteboard example that I gave to you? Okay. I'm going to go through all of these top sellers, and I would literally like write down in my notes. So I would see like how many sellers have a 7 tier, how many sellers who make 10K plus a month have a 2 tier, how many have a 10 tier, how many have a 3 tier. And so I would collect the data for all of those. And then I would go through and see like what sellers or how many shoes each one of these listings can hold. So maybe this one does 20 pairs, this one does 15 pairs, this one does 50 pairs. And I would start making notes of what each one of those things did. And then you're going to obviously see different designs. So we see like this rotating design. We see more of this like bench type design. We see these taller designs, and same thing. I would make note which one performs best, or excuse me, not even which one performs best, but like, let's say we counted like 1, 2, so this is like tall, skinny design. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're looking at sellers. Okay, so 5 out of, let's just say there's 48 sellers who do 10K plus a month. 5 out of those 48 sellers have this design. And then I would do that for each one of the designs. And from there, once I collected all of my data, I would see what things are more dominant in the market. So maybe you see that a design like this performs better. And a lot of them have 3 tiers. But then you see maybe one who has a design like this, who has like a 5 tier. Okay, maybe it would be good for me to go launch a 5 or 6 tier, right? And then maybe you see a seller like this. We'll call this, we'd still call this a design. So that how they have right here, oh, I just realized, I'm sorry, YT, I wasn't sharing the screen with you guys this whole time. But then we see, where'd we go? This seller right here who has like these side compartments. But then we notice that not every seller, like this one, who does well, has these side compartments. And so I would start to build out a hybrid of all of the listings that performed well here on page 1. Maybe you see some that have like a bench that you can sit on. Maybe if you're launching a bigger design, you can't do the bench. So you can't choose every single thing or every single aspect about a design. But it's like, okay, I see that a lot of people do well with like a 10 tier, but they're tall. I see a lot who do well with a 3 tier that are short. Maybe I can come in, I launch a 6 tier. I see that there's a few sellers who perform well with the little side compartments, but not every single seller has the side compartment. So I come in and I can add something like that. and you just start building it out based on the data. So there's a concept of objective versus subjective. I saw a comment earlier, I didn't get to read it yet, but where it's like, nobody has what I have. That would be a little bit more subjective, where you're taking a guess, or same thing. Maybe I see some hooks on some of the listings, and so I'm going to have the side compartments, and I'm going to add the hooks for like sunglasses and keys. You see what I mean when I say I'm creating a hybrid? I'm taking ideas from all of the top sellers, because there's not a seller here, from what I've seen. Yeah, there's not a seller here who has maybe one of the more popular designs with the side compartments and the little hooks, and is a certain tier being like 2-tier, 3-tier, 10-tier, right? And so I'm taking all those ideas and I'm creating that hybrid listing. Now, that's more of an objective way to look at product research. Another subjective way, you would source it from a manufacturer. And because I'm not like reinventing the product, now let's say that this was the only listing here that looked like this, and pretend that it didn't exist. And we were like, you know what? I want to launch something like this, but we didn't see anything else on it with it on Amazon. We would either have to have a manufacturer create it for us, or maybe a manufacturer has it in stock and it's just not on Amazon. But if you were to launch something like this, like let's say this was you and nobody else had launched this yet and you're getting ready to launch it, this would be more of a subjective differentiator. Subjective being, I think that it will perform well, but I don't have the data whether it will perform well or not, but I'm still going to give it a shot, right? Back to the original thesis, that is why I would not rely on AI, because it didn't necessarily talk about all of the differentiators. It did say design, and it did say the, where did it go? The capacity, so I respect that. But it talked about a whole load of stuff that has nothing to do with differentiation, and why you should not rely, because Grok doesn't have the data that I'm looking at right here. Okay? Now, sock compartment, I think that would be subjective. Does Amazon hold you back? I answer that. Nobody else's product looks like mine. Wouldn't that be risky? It's not that it's risky. It's just subjective and you don't have the data. So the only thing that will tell you is the market is the market is the market. Only the market can decide whether that is good or not. Now, y'all, I post so much free content. I do these lives. Y'all see that I answer every single question. If you think that is good, imagine what is inside the AMZ Masterclass Mentorship, the Harvard of Amazon private label education. It is not just a course. I don't even though I call it a mentorship, I don't even like calling it that, because a mentorship does not have all of the things that I include in the program. So y'all check out the TikTok bio to see all of the things that are included. You can play this little video right here. And if y'all were interested in having my direct access to me throughout your entire Amazon journey, being able to message me, having a one-on-one call with me, and all the things that I've built, you'd click yes, I want to apply. You'd go through this very quick questionnaire. It takes roughly 60 seconds to fill out. Actually, fill it out with proper answers. I'm just showing y'all how to get through it. Now, not everybody qualifies for the main mentorship. You'll know that you don't qualify because you'll get a screen. Sorry, I had to hide my contact info. You'll get a screen that says you did not qualify for the main mentorship. But if you do, you will be brought to this page right here, where you're going to be able to select a date and time to hop on a call with my onboarding coach, Adam. Adam is great. Adam speaks for me. He's a student in the AMZ Masterclass, and he's also an active seller on Amazon. So he'll be able to answer any questions that y'all have. On that note, it was a great live, y'all. I appreciate everybody who followed, everybody who tuned in for today's live. I hope you all have a blessed day, and I will see you all tomorrow.